The Atomic Real Estate Show, bringing you the real estate of real estate. Brought to you by Danny Bennett Productions in partnership with Direct Subs.
This episode is brought to you by our friends over at The Rook. You can reach them at The Rook Manioc on Instagram. They're located at 4001 Crescent Street. Our friends over at The Rook did not want us to focus on their business for the sponsorship, which speaks volumes about the character of the gentleman who owned The Rook. They wanted us to utilize this sponsorship to talk about their favorite nonprofit organizations to donate to. Number one is Steppin' with Stofir. You can reach them at Steppin' with Stofir on Instagram, and they are helping ease the financial burden of individuals going through cancer treatments. Number two is Sloan's Roses, at Sloan's Roses on Instagram. They're providing assistance to family members that have suffered or been affected by a child-related death, injury, loss, or tragedy. The other nonprofit organization is at Lisa's Army on Instagram, and they are comforting those battling cancer.
Hey guys, we're back with another episode of the Atomic Real Estate Show. Ryan Dolan with Nick Cessna. We got a good one today. An old friend and a great builder, carpentry, general contractor, the great Mike Haggerty, St. John's finest. Good buddy of ours from way back in the day, but we wanted to have him on the show because, you know, the flipping aspect of things. How did we get from single family flips to the main line is kind of what we're trying to figure out today for our novice investor. So Mike, thanks for jumping on. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. A little bit about you. Look, I know you're nervous. You never really got on there, but what we wanted to do is really showcase what you're out there doing on in the Villanova section, mainline section, and really how you came from humble beginnings as just doing carpentry work to flipping neighborhood houses in Roxborough, Manioc, to now building homes from the ground up in just a few short years. It feels like, right?
Yeah,
within the decade.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Tell us a little bit about kind of like, you know, how you got started here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I got started, I guess you can start back when I was like 18, 19 years old. I became carpenter. Back when I became, when I first started, it's kind of slow. It was around the 07, 08
Crash.
Around that time. Yeah. So work wasn't really, busy at the time.
You were doing commercial work?
Yes, yeah,
okay.
yeah. Well, at first I was doing the commercial work, and then I got around that time, since it was so like dead, I got linked up with an older guy that was well respected in the business. So he put me on a job with him at the time, which was for a contractor that had a contract with PHA. So we were doing work in the houses for PHA.
The PHA houses?
Yeah, in the city of Philadelphia.
Like just ripping and running.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we would get an address. We would go, show up. You're there till we're done. I mean, you start the demo. We did a little bit of demo. We did the framing, the rocking, floors, kitchens, everything. So, I started seeing that end of it.
Was he like GC-ing? It was like a GC type thing?
It was a big thing. I mean, there was like 500 houses over that period of time that we had to rehab. I mean, we had a lot of guys.
Because they got a lot of their own people too, right? Or is that more for just like service?
Yeah, those guys are more for like the occupied units.
Yep.
And these were the ones that weren't occupied anymore. I guess they had so many just vacant that...
Were they like scattered site, single family houses? So they weren't like projects?
No. They were all some of them were triplexes. Like there's times we've seen some shit.
Yeah.
But,
because you're in an undesirable neighborhood.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, you get the address. Sometimes we open a door. It's a triplex. Some of them were like triplexes that we would be doing the third floor. But first and second were occupied. So we seen some shit. I mean, yeah.
You can't leave anything in your truck.
No. Yeah,
can't leave anything on the job site. Anything that plugs in or has
robbed.
A battery.
I mean, if you're leaving a nail gun out on the step or something, you run upstairs, like, gone. Like,
so this is 18 years old. You're getting contracted out. So, because, before the set, we were obviously talking St. John's Roman. When you got out of Roman, you said you just knew it right into the trades.
Well, I wasn't really like, I was a sports kind of kid growing up. I wasn't really into the trades and stuff like that. So, but college wasn't what I was going to do. I knew that.
Was somebody in your family in the trades?
No.
Really?
No, yeah, no one.
Like someone just grabbed you, was like, "Hey, here's a big, strong kid."
Yeah, well, I kind of like I knew people that were like carpenters and did stuff like this, but never like thought about it growing up. Never really thought about it, but so
Who put you onto it?
my sister was dating a guy, and he was in a carpenters union at one point, and I'd say carpenters union.
No, I mean, like everybody does, right? They explore college, the unions, they explore whatever
trades.
world it is, different trades. If you want to go on it your own,
Yeah.
it's a crash course, right? So
Yeah.
look, nobody knows when they get out, and it's kind of like, hey, they got good benefits, they got good pay,
That's
probably
kind of
steady
what it
work.
What did Mama Hags think about that?
She wasn't, happy with it at first.
Your mom's fucking awesome. She's
Thank you.
she's
And
cool
she has a
lady.
real estate background as well.
Yeah.
She's been a licensed real estate agent for many years now.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Yeah, so she wanted me initially to do the college thing,
Sure.
whatever. So she was a little against that, but it was either you're going to college or you're working.
Sure.
Like, you're not sitting around thinking about it, type of thing. So that's what got me into the carpentry, and once I got into it, it was all right. I mean, I was young. My friends were friggin' partying.
Sure.
I gotta be.
Aren't
at
they
work.
still? I
Yeah,
think they're all in Europe right now, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. But it was miserable at first. Like working, going in these shithole houses. You don't know what you're walking into. Friggin', it was terrible. And then, we were doing the work. It started becoming a little bit more satisfying, seeing these shitholes become something decent.
Sure.
Yeah.
So a little bit more satisfying. So I got a little better at it as I was going, and then.
It's actually a great spot to learn too.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, at 18 years old, if you're
Yeah.
riding in the middle of the winter, like hitting these houses, it's
yeah.
got to be a pain.
In the hood
And you
too,
got to
like,
not want to get up each morning.
It doesn't,
and
have,
probably
it
do
doesn't
that
have to
job.
be.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be perfect. So if you make mistakes, like, all right, cool, we'll just
Exactly.
fix it. No big deal.
Yeah.
And no, it's not really expensive materials that you're using. So like, if you fuck up, that's the place to fuck up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was a wild time, right? It's like 08, 09. It's like
Yeah,
Lot of people-
you just had to get people. In
A lot of people laid off too.
Yeah. That's
what
so,
it was, yeah.
So a lot of people in them house, like you're saying, them other occupied units.
Yeah.
A lot of people just probably just staying at home, watching
yeah.
Maury all day, like up
Yeah.
to no good.
Oh, I mean, the one house, we were doing the third floor unit. We hear shit outside, and we look out the window. I ended up seeing, what's his name? Jeff. There was a cop at the time. They're freaking kicking in the door of the first floor unit.
You guys are upstairs working. It's
We're
great.
upstairs working, and I scream out the window, like, yo, Jeff, what's up?
I mean, but that's good. I mean, so you're learning by fire right away, right? And then you're probably mapping out a game plan. How the hell do I not do this the rest of my life?
That's exactly like what I started doing after that.
You start formulating a game
Yeah.
plan like, all right, I can learn a lot here. I can be mentored by somebody, but I'm not doing this the rest of
Was
my
that
life.
is that Jeff with the Roman?
Yeah.
That's a funny thing.
Yeah.
Like there's like the Roman connection, right? Like it's anywhere you go, there's like a Roman connection. But you got a dude upstairs doing carpentry, and then a
Yeah.
dude that's a cop
I know.
downstairs kicking in the
Kicking
door,
down the
kicking in
door.
the door.
Yeah.
Guy probably getting arrested is probably a good football player.
Yeah, right.
Either way, shit, we probably know some of them. But either way, so as you're kind of doing that, when did you pivot out? Because I mean, I've known you forever, and all I've known you is working with your
Yeah.
hands. I feel like, I mean, obviously when we were kids, it was different. But when did you say like enough of this? Like I kind of want to go my own route, do the flips? Was that much later, or did you?
Yeah, it was probably around that 20. Well, I got my first flip 2015, but even like right before that, I was working for like on the side for another contractor in the neighborhood. Was doing work for a guy that was flipping houses. So I was just, doing the work for the contractor.
You did some work for me too for a while.
I did,
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel like that was
Yeah.
how I
Yeah.
kind of knew you guys knew each other.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and then when you say 2015,
And then like once I knew
10
like he
years.
knew what he was doing, I'm like, go to this place and like grab this material and just do this what needs to
Yeah.
be done. Like I don't need to be there. Go do this.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you could send him somewhere and he's like, all right, cool. Like yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Call me
figure
when
it
you're
out.
done.
Yep.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just was working for the guy on the side, for a guy that was flipping houses, and that's when it started to become like, all right,
this dude can do it, or if anybody can really do it, because it was at that time when everything was blowing up, right? Like our neighborhood, where we come from, a lot of people work in, the trades, the hospitality industry, whatever it is, and they try to get their cash into real estate. And it's like, well, you can do it one of two ways. You can either do it with, your income and your professional job, which a lot of guys didn't have back then. So it's like, all right, learn a trade, get your cash into real estate, buy a duplex, buy a fixer-upper. And, like, you did it young, which was impressive. Like,
you were just working and saving your money.
Yeah, that's it. I was saving, living at home with my mom. And then, I bought my house in, like, 2012.
I was going to say, you were spending money.
2012.
Man.
Yeah, I was.
You bought your own, you bought your
I bought my
house.
own house in 2012.
Yeah.
So I bought that kind of early. But,
You're still in the same spot?
yeah.
Them houses are worth a hell of a lot more now.
I know, yeah.
I remember when we were doing something. I would text Hags and be like, "Yo, I just picked one up in your neighborhood. I'm breaking the barrier, right?
Yeah.
We broke like the 300 barrier. Then I think we broke like the 400 barrier, right? And I was like, yo, like every time I would do a house back there, I'm like putting money in your pocket, cuz.
But it's good. I mean, you're simple in the fact that you pretty much always reinvested into real estate, reinvested into your business, from what I know of it.
Yeah.
So is that kind of what you did? Like, screw it. A house is a house for me, but I can create a business out of this. So is that kind of what the thought process was?
That's exactly what it was. Yeah,
Awesome.
that's what it was. Yeah.
You saw me and Malade's stupid ass could do it. You were like, I can do this. And you came around when we were buying up the hood.
Yeah. I think I was. When did you start doing that? What year was that?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I know.
Temple area.
I would have been
remember,
like one or two of my own flips under my belt at that time, where I was doing all the work myself.
I remember when you were doing that, leveling floors and knocking, doing the demo, and I'm like, how is this possible?
Yeah. The first few I did by myself.
Well, tell us how that worked and how you transitioned, because a lot of the people that write in and they say that's one of their biggest problems, right? They start by themselves. After their job, it's not worth their time, not worth the money, the stress, and they phase out, right? They're like, I can't do this shit.
Yeah.
So, like, how do you crew up like kind of Nick does, where now it's just pretty much effortless for his team? It's like, acquire the property at the right price, crew goes in, 3 months delivery, boom, we're on to that.
That's what it is. I mean, the first few, and you have to educate yourself a little bit too. You know what I mean? I went into it. I'm like, my first ones.
Just getting a property. You're happy. Yeah.
Use my own money. Yeah. I'm friggin' stressing. Like, this needs to sell. This needs to sell.
Maxing credit cards.
Yeah,
right?
So it's like that part of it was what I needed to learn more about. And once I did learn more about, there's funding for this and stuff like that, then it became just, it just rolls.
Because once you start your point, educating yourself, and I was even the same way when, Tenant Bar back then would like to get it into real estate and didn't know, like, I was early in my lending career. That was about 2010. Yeah. So it's like, all right, you get your money into real estate, but you don't know, like, hey, leverage the bank's money against it. Right? We're coming out of financial crisis. Nobody trusts banks. Nobody trusts lenders. Mm-hmm. And it's like all this stuff started developing where it's like, well, just leverage the bank's money. And now once the banks regain that trust, it's like, oh shit, why am I putting my own actual tangible cash in here? So you want to free it up.
Sleep.
Yeah, losing sleep. But as you learn, hey, I could throw this in more real estate. I can put this in the market. I can get better returns here. Which a lot of our people just don't know. It's like, hey, I got $150K cash. I want to get it off the street into a real estate, into a property. What's next? Yeah, I'm strapped. I don't have a crew. Yep. This shit's costing me more than I bid off. And what's the deal? So how did you kind of avoid all that?
So I mean, obviously, I think you might have.
I did. I helped you in the beginning. That was a long time ago.
I still use that same guy.
Oh, really?
John Kate.
Yeah.
I use him still.
Yeah. So John was with one of our previous companies, and I mean, John's great.
Yeah.
So what they did is that was the time when they started these different fix and flip loans, which is. We should touch on that more on this show. Fix and flip loans are amazing. It's for the novice to intermediate investor. You can get in pretty cheap. Mm-hmm. You could use your LLC to protect yourself and your assets, your family, which we're obviously big on. But that was probably I want to say 2014, probably 10 years ago.
It was a while ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a long time.
So that we'll touch on those fix and flip loans. So you get in those. And now you start using that access to cash, because as you're building a portfolio with John and his team, what was it, Finance of America?
I think it was Finance of America.
And then Yeah, that was a great program, right? Rates
Yeah.
are a little higher, but the speed's quicker, and as you build a portfolio, terms get better.
Yeah.
So tell us how, like, your experience was from coming just like, hey, I'm working for the union, Pennsylvania Housing, whatever it was, to now using the bank and leveraging. Because is it scary, you know, when you got loans out there and big notes? Or
Yeah, it's always, you know, something to think about.
Sure.
You know, you always got to make sure you're covering yourself. But, I mean, it just, from doing the first few on my own money, I mean, getting someone else's money is breeze.
That
you
is-
know what
yeah,
I mean?
you went
It's like
backwards,
nothing.
yeah.
It's like, you know, I'm not even using my own money here. I think I'm friggin' rich, you know? Like,
Yeah.
But, yeah, it made it a lot easier. I was able to, you know, start getting, you know, more than one at a time type of thing, you know. So, and then I just, you know, started to establish a team, you know, guys to work with me and stuff like that, so I can get away from, you know, killing myself doing all the work on the houses and everything. And then, yeah, you know, in the meantime, you know, it allowed me to do a flip, you know, sell it, grab a rental, do a flip, grab a rental. That's what I was
going
doing
to
in the
ask you
beginning
next, like,
there.
what was the philosophy? Am I, hey, since I'm a trade guy, I'm a straight flip? Or do I do a little bit of both, or whatever makes sense at the time? Because I know we all pivoted, like, hey, let's
Yeah.
flip, let's hold,
Yeah.
rent and hold. Because they also, with the fix and flip programs that we were discussing earlier, they also have rent and hold programs, which is the same deal. You can use the bank's money, renovate the home, bring in a tenant, have the tenant pay off the loan, like,
Yeah.
and then maybe refi into your long-term financing. So, you know, what was your philosophy when you jumped in? Did you not know? Did you not care? Or was it just like, whatever?
Yeah, when I first jumped in, I mean, so my mom sells real estate too, so like she.
So it's
kinda,
not like you're
yeah,
totally green to this whole
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
good.
So she's kind of, you know, telling me, you know, do a flip or two, grab a rental. You know what I mean? So I did that. She was kind of telling me to do that, go that path. You know, obviously, as when I was younger, you know, I just wanted the money all right away.
Sure.
You know what I mean? As you get older, you learn you got equity and
It's the
all
long
that
game.
stuff. Yeah,
Park your money in the
exactly,
properties. Yeah.
And that's probably what she was probably schooling you on.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, she's always long term, and you know, it drives me nuts sometimes. But,
In the
but
20s,
it's the
you don't.
better-
In the
yeah.
20s, you ain't trying to hear that.
Exactly,
We're trying to be
I
over.
remember we flipped one house and I had you and your mom come look at it because we listed it for a price where like people were like, "This is outrageous,"
Yeah.
right? It was over on Ripka Street,
Yeah, I remember.
right? And you and Mama Hags walked in and she was like, "I got to see this because I can't believe what you're listing this for," right? And I was like, "Well, you ain't gonna believe this. It's under contract already." And she was like, "Get the fuck
Yeah.
out of here!" She looked at it. She was like, "God damn, you guys like." Took it all the way down. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, there's value in our neighborhood, like, and that's I feel like when the numbers started, like at that point, like my dad and like that age group were telling me like, you're fucking out of your mind. You ain't selling these things for this, and I'm like, watch me.
Yeah.
And then like I think your mom was like she was like, you know, because she's in real estate, but she was like, ain't no way you're getting this, and I'm like, we got it, and she
Yeah.
was like, holy shit, and then like stuff just started blowing
Yeah.
up. You know
She
what I mean?
still talks about that house to this day. 'Cause
Yeah.
We'll walk through, and she always says she loved what you did with that one door. It was like a chalkboard. or
Yeah,
something like
chalkboard
that,
door. Yeah.
So we'll go through a house, and she'll be like, you gotta do some nick to this.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
Some
throw a
That's all
little-
Jen. That's
Yeah.
Jen,
Some
not
Jen
me.
to that.
Yeah, the transoms. We like doing a lot of the
Yeah,
transoms in the
yeah.
row homes.
Yeah, she still talks about that house
Yeah.
though, and she's still blown away.
Yeah.
That's what you got.
I haven't seen her. I'll have to bring her out to lunch. You and her
Yeah,
to lunch one
yeah.
day.
She's
So then you actually used mom, which, you know, is an important point here. Like, mom had a real estate background, practicing real estate agent. So you probably subliminally heard a lot of that stuff growing up, right? Like transactions and how kind of she communicated with other agents and things like that.
Yeah, well, when I was younger, she wasn't like too like deep into it.
Okay.
She kind of got away from it when I was younger.
Sure.
You know, she was a single mom. She needed
Yeah, a
that
lot of our
guaranteed
people are in
money.
here,
Yeah,
yeah, of
so
course.
you know, the real estate wasn't the thing, and you know, she needed the paycheck. So it was like a little bit earlier than when I got started with my first flip.
Oh, so
She
you're
was, like,
kind of
getting
growing.
back
You're
into
kind of
it.
like growing together at that point. Because
Yeah.
everything at that point, she probably most of us forget in
Yeah.
our business.
Did you ever meet his mom?
Oh yeah.
You're like
Yeah.
she's like that lady like you're instantly comfortable
Of
with.
course, yeah.
Like instantaneously
Yeah.
you're like,
Great.
I want to give this lady a hug.
Yeah.
Like you're just like so comfortable with
Yeah,
her.
sometimes she's too easy to do transactions.
Well, that's
right.
how
Yeah,
I
I'm
was-
like, I'm not
I-
trying to,
I
it's
know.
very nice.
Yeah.
I was going to say that she gives me such a easy, like, I guess the transactions are so easy when we do them. And when I'm doing them because I do them with other ones too.
Sure.
It's painful. She's just like so on the ball with I need this. It's just like right to you.
Yeah, pretty common presence. She's always available, kind of
always,
thing.
Yeah, so that helps out a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, she handles a lot of my paperwork.
A lot of the
all my
paperwork,
office
because
stuff.
that's more the daunting task for like the trade side. Like if you had that background, it's like, well, I don't have the business acumen background, right? Like the paperwork, all the files.
Well, didn't you partner with her on a few?
Yeah, she jumped.
Which you probably didn't even need to, but you probably.
after.
I'm not going to speak for you, but you probably brought your mom in to
Yeah, absolutely.
Hell
help
yeah,
her
get
out.
everybody in the game, right?
Yeah,
It's like
that's it.
everybody wants to get in and try their hand at it,
Yeah.
because it isn't for everybody,
If
right?
you can't trust her, who can you trust? Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
But I mean,
then-
if she's practicing real estate, all real estate agents, all lenders, they all want to get in. They all want their own piece.
And
of
then
real
she
estate.
gets a little piece of pie, but then you have to. Then you don't have to deal with any of the bullshit.
Oh yeah.
She
nah.
can deal with all the paperwork, all the people stuff, and you can just keep on
now
running.
gives you more time to what? Go source the properties. Is that what I mean? So did you phase out of like, all right, the hands-on stuff? I want to start running this as a business. I'm going to go start sourcing houses, and then I'm going to have a team, delegate to a team to kind of get this job done.
Yeah, that's kind of what it came to. I guess it just became, I just started getting too many houses at the same time.
Sure.
That it was like, I can't physically be
at
in
this many
everywhere.
places.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's kind of what made me take off a little bit more, is getting more properties, and then just I tried for a little bit, like you're selling a house, realtors are in and out with clients, they see the work, they reach out to my mom who's the agent, who did the work, and then people start calling you looking for get shit done. So I started doing that, like the kitchen and the bathroom thing, which I don't do really anymore.
Yeah.
But I was doing that for a while.
So you'll get private calls, hey, I need a kitchen, I get a bath. And
Yeah.
that's hard to say no, right? Because they're easy jobs.
Yeah.
But like to scale your business to where, you guys did, because you also get those calls. It's
Yeah.
like, you can't take those jobs. It's
Yeah.
gonna-
But when you're starting out there, you need them because they fill time for your people,
Yeah, absolutely.
and they
When
keep
you're-
people busy.
Yeah, they kept me busy. I mean, no, I just can't physically do it anymore. That's
Sure.
why I don't hate it. You know what I mean? It was a good thing in the beginning. I actually used CJ's the direct subs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I met a couple people off of there.
Look at that.
Yeah.
See
So
that?
tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about that. How did
Yeah.
it go? How was your experience? CJ would love to hear it. So
yeah.
would the guest. For
So,
sure.
I signed up. I heard about it or whatever through friends and everything, and I signed up. And someone posted a job. I was in between, houses. It was a little slow, so I'm like, let me go.
Did O put you onto that?
Yeah.
Because
Wow.
CJ got O onto there, and O was doing some stuff. And
Yeah.
then,
So it was a like a little drywall job down on Main Street or whatever. So I went down, checked it out. Guy, super cool. He was doing like the old, what was it, Pottery Barn down there?
Yeah,
Or whatever. The big nice
Oh
building.
yeah, I
down
remember
there.
that.
Yeah. So we kicked it off. I did a little bit of drywall for him or whatever, and then just talking to him, he's like, dude, I need guys to do trim and doors and finish work and stuff. I'm like, dude, I can do that.
Yeah.
So like I did all the work down there for that too.
Wow.
Turned out the guy was a realtor too. He turned me on to clients of his that were, I was doing kitchens and baths. Like this dude from direct subs.
Oh, so
kept
it
me
led to
busy.
kind of where you're at today.
Not well, yeah.
It-
I don't do anything for him anymore
Sure.
specifically, but I mean, he kept me busy up. I mean, 3 years. I met this guy. He was just feeding me work.
So
Yeah,
you guys,
kitchens,
yeah.
baths.
So you guys are doing kitchens, bath, whatever small
And then
renos.
you could select the houses that you wanted to do, and not just feel like you have to take on a house.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then it kind of runs a course eventually, like, all right, these single families through the agent, we got to level up.
Yeah.
Like, so then when does that, because now you're blowing up. I mean, if you check out your Instagram, so one, we'll throw your IG up there. So what is it so people can follow the construction company?
So I just started the Instagram. It's mke.gc. That's the Instagram.
I seen you had like a videographer. Out
Yeah,
there
I'm
and
trying
stuff.
We're getting his
Yeah.
social media content
Yeah.
up. That's what he's here for. He don't want to be here, but we're getting it up for him.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't personally want to do it, but, you know, doing like some crazy jobs, some nice things that I think need to be documented, I feel like I have to, you know, start.
Dude,
doing
I'm telling you,
stuff
like,
on there.
I didn't want to do it. I still don't want to do it, but it helps. And don't want to tell you, he's seen it happen. I've bought and sold homes on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like dozens of times at this point. Like
I feel like it's happening. It's more common now than it's ever been.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah, and I feel like I don't even post as much anymore.
Yeah,
like
I
I just
feel
do
like
like
your
more.
stuff's
I do
way
more
down.
like stories or like Danny will make me videos and put it out there. But I don't do as much. But like because I feel like once you build up a little bit of a base and like. And don't get caught up in like the follower count. It's more so like the people engaging with you. And then I realized like if people are DMing me, how a couple hours a week I go on there and I DM people back and this and that, and people ask you questions. How do you get started? Like this type of shit.
Yeah.
And you dude, it's just like one thing leads to another. It's like you don't ever want to big shot anybody because it's like you never know.
Yeah.
If you're going to run into them down the line, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
absolutely.
And it's like, and then agents too, like it's a great way to like network with agents. And, they like, oh yeah, your wife's an agent, or your mom's an agent. They automatically assume like that, like your mom's going to get everything. Well, that's not the case.
Yeah, no,
I'll work with
absolutely
any
not.
agent.
Yeah.
You'll work with any agent.
Yep.
You bring me a good deal. It's yours
Anybody
to
adding
sell.
some value is going to get the
Yeah.
work, right?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
But how about you? So with the new IG and the social media, have you been successful grabbing jobs yet? Like Nick was for quite a while there, or
Not yet, no.
Yeah.
I mean, I have had some realtors, you know, DM me and say, like, you know, I do work, like, I sell in this area and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But, you know, that's really it right now. I only started it maybe a month
Well,
or
we're
so,
curious
yeah.
because we like to push that out. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of, like, if you can run your business lean, mean, not pay all these third parties to, source leads, do
Yeah.
it through just organic social media. Who gives a shit if you got 50,000 followers? If you have 1,000 that refer your business,
Yeah.
it's like, who cares? That's
Yeah.
what you want to do, right?
Yeah,
and I think a
100%.
lot of us are like that. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, you only have 2,000 people. I'm like, yeah, but they're quality people that
Yeah.
refer
They're
me
real. They're
business.
real.
They're real,
They're real
actual
human
people.
beings. Yeah.
They're not just creeping to see what I'm up to on the weekends.
Yeah.
They want to, add some value to my life, which is great. So no, that's cool because this is going on social media.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I can't wait till everyone sees it, man. So
I mean, it's all networking.
Yeah,
And
it's just
that's the
network.
freest. It's the freest
this is how people get their
networking
information.
and marketing.
Yeah.
It's people don't even look up websites anymore.
Yeah.
People are like, "What's your IG?"
Yeah.
And then like my kids' age, they're like, "What's your Snap?" Like, what? I don't have that shit. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? Or like
gonna have to get
Danny
sued.
does TikTok and shit like that, right? I'm like, I ain't got time for all that shit. You know what I
And
mean?
that beats the alternative of dancing around, right? You just do things like this for an hour and chat. So tell me kind of how.
Or you insult yourself in videos and it gets like 20,000 views in a
The
week.
one that you had was good, dude. That was a good
Yeah,
one.
it was
that
good,
was
right?
good. Yeah.
So, you're doing this now, but are you just going off reputation alone? I mean, I know that's always the biggest thing for, general contractors and business owners. It's like reputation is going to be the king, of course, but like what other ways are you going to push out your business? Or do you just have a certain lane now? Are you like a mainline developer or what's your deal?
No, I'm open to anything really.
Yeah.
Anything that comes my way, I'm willing to listen to. You know what I mean? So I got right now. I'm like doing like a couple houses out in the main line. You know what I mean? So I got people like neighbors out there coming up to me, talking to me about things, stuff like that. Someone in their family might have just passed away or something, stuff like that. I don't really put myself out there. I mean, the social media is really it, and everything else has just been off reputation.
Reputation
Like, yeah,
alone.
that's
So
it.
now that
But
everybody.
you keep that job site clean.
Yeah.
Like you
They
see how
love me,
you've
yeah.
been around my job sites and you see how and you worked with us. You see how I operate. Like I'm always like, if there's trash, clean it up.
Yeah.
If the old lady's coming in with bags, offer to help her. Put your tool bag down. Offer to help her. That shit goes a long way, right? First off, it's the right thing to do. It sets the tone for the culture around you that you want people to do the right thing, right? It's contagious, and then you're just doing a good deed. But karma is a real thing.
Oh,
like
yeah.
you do good for people, like good comes back to you.
Absolutely.
And like you talk to the neighbors up there, right?
Yeah.
Hey, this person, we know this is vacant. They'll give you the scoop. Like they see like you taking care of their neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, hey, can you try to get this house Yeah, sure. What's the address? Let me know a little bit about it. You have any phone numbers? You have this, you have that. And they give you things that you can go off of and you go after it.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by NEF General Contracting. NEF General Contracting is your go-to for all your local roofing needs. Local roofers serving the Philadelphia, PA region and South Jersey. Residential and commercial roofing. NEF General Contracting provides roof repair, roof replacement, maintenance, roof coatings, and 24/7 emergency roofing services. We install energy-efficient shingles from Owens Corning, GAF, TPO, and offer EPDM rubber roofs. Gutters and downspouts installation, window replacement, siding installation. NEF is the only roofing and exterior contractor that is allowed to work on my properties. You can reach NEF General Contracting at 267-690-4901 or nefgeneralcontracting.com.
One question I'm really curious about here. So that, if you're not watching on our reels and you're just kind of listening, we're referencing the main line section of Philadelphia, like the greater suburbs of Philadelphia, a very affluent area where it was a lot of old money, right? And so a question I'm curious, just we're kind of looking at your Instagram, is these are homes built 100 years ago, right? A lot of these things. You guys are doing some knockdowns that are pretty pretty modern, right?
Yeah.
So like extremely modern for the area.
Yeah.
How's it being received? And I know some people must hate it, and I know some people gotta love it because it's pretty. They're modern houses, and they're big.
Yeah. So far, so good. I mean, everybody is okay with it that I've ran into so far. I mean, like Nick said, the neighbors, they want to know what's going on.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I mean?
in that area, they sure as hell want to know
exactly.
what's going on.
They want to know who you are, your company name, what you do, how many you did, all this stuff. Like,
You give them your phone number. Hey, if there's a problem, call me.
And that's exactly how it goes. You know what I mean? So on that end, there's no problems. Like, you keep it clean outside. You keep them informed. I mean, they walk by every single day. They'll even like walk up. I even caught the one guy. It was like, I went there late at night the one night, and we were just doing the framing, and the old guy is in there with his cane. He's inside the house with his cane. I'm like, dude, you can't be in this house.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Like, I'll bring you through.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
yeah.
He's like, I just want to see what you're doing, But it's people are okay with it, I think a lot of them houses that we're doing are like they're not small. I wouldn't say they're small, but
The one you're
they're
doing is like 10,000 square foot, right?
Yeah.
That's a mansion.
I wouldn't say that's a mansion.
Well, that's what
That's
we're
a double
making them
mansion.
into.
Isn't mansion
Yeah.
5,000?
I mean, I
So
don't
it's
know.
a double mansion,
Yeah.
basically.
So some of them are like, long ranchers, you know what I mean, that we're knocking down and going up with. So I don't think they hate to see it. And there's a lot of them going on over there. So, I mean, I'm not the first one that's doing it.
So you're
either,
just, it's a
Yeah.
it's the same thing as anything. It's a copycat league,
Yeah.
flipping houses, grabbing then the whole blueprint
Yeah.
until you move on to the next neighborhood. So
They're financially smart people over there because, like Dolan said, it's an old money neighborhood.
Yeah.
So, like, those people have been around money from birth.
Yeah.
And, they know about money and they know about equity. So, like, they see what's going on. They're like, this kid's going to build a $1.5 million house. I bought my house in the 77 for $100,000. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
so they're smarter. Like, they're not like a Roxborough, Manioc, where like it's these fights with the same old neighbors where they're like, bitching about the taxes and the stuff like that. And they don't get like how much money you're putting in their pocket. They don't see that because they're not very financially informed or smart.
well, that's not necessarily always
lot.
true. We love
Listen,
a lot.
there's a lot. There's a lot of people. Listen, we're all from there. We all
I know,
live there,
I know.
right? But there's a lot of people that are just very stubborn, very stuck in their ways.
Yeah.
And it's not their fault. They just don't know.
Yeah, you're right.
But over there, they were taught about money.
Well,
Like,
so
they're
then
trust fund people.
How do
over
you
there.
break into that circle, right? Because I mean, all doing business is who you know through your connections. Like, how does a single family Manioc flipper get to become a general contractor overseeing 10,000 square foot builds in Villanova? Is that building a team? Is that through your connections? Like, how does that start? Because people are saying like, well, how the hell did that happen?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's through my team, through connections. Same thing going back to doing work for like realtors type of thing.
Sure.
There was a buddy of mine that was a realtor. He would dish off, some jobs to me. Hey, I got a client, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So he wanted to start getting into the flip game too. So we kind of got together. We did a couple flips together. And then we just went above and beyond. So it just took off. I mean, it was a house in Roxborough, and then it was like, fuck it, let's go out here. That's all it was. It was just like let's take the risk.
Level up and go.
Yeah, like,
Is that dude you had called me about? He was like raising capital for stuff. You're still doing stuff.
Yeah, I'm still doing.
So
stuff
what a
with
lot
that,
of people will do, and obviously you don't name names and things like that, but you could start funds, right? So what guys in our field will do is they'll put together a team, and they'll put together what's called a fund, and they'll put together a 5-year projection, a 7-year projection, and they'll see how many initial investors need to buy into that fund in order to get to where their benchmarks are, right? So it could be, hey, Nick, come in and give me $50,000 or $100,000 buy-in. We only want 10 partners, and you got to leave it in there for 7 years. So that's how a lot of people say, well, how the hell is he raising capital for that?
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people do, is create funds, whether it's a huge fund or it's a small mom and pop fund that you just kind of cook up. But you have to know, you have to be smart with your business. So I'm assuming that's kind of one of the jobs you're working for in a fund kind of.
Yeah. So, my buddy that was, I was doing the couple flips with or whatever. He came to me, approached me about the fund type of thing.
Sure.
Invest in the fund. Let's do a fund. Invest in the fund, and you do all the work for all the houses that we buy. So that's kind of what.
So you have equity
you're
stake
making
and
money.
cash stake. So
Exactly,
you got two dogs in the fight,
Yeah.
right? So now it makes sense for you. You're in it for the long haul. Like, it's hard for the regular investor to say, like, damn, I'm going to give up 100 G's for 7 years, and I can put it in the market, and my advisor's telling me this. That's why if you don't have, kind of almost two dogs in the fight, it's a challenging decision for an investor, right? You really got to be doed up and in for the long game. That's if you don't know a thing about trades, if flipping, doing any work, you can just throw your cash in there and hang out. But you said, screw it, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is and do the sweat equity piece of it. So when these funds end, whether it be 5 years, 7 years, you're seeing double returns, triple returns, and more work, more and more connections.
Yeah, exactly.
When did you start doing that stuff?
2022.
Okay.
Is when we started the fun stuff.
Now, you guys were doing rentals too, right?
Yeah,
You're keeping a lot of stuff.
So these are the whole fund is all rentals.
Rentals.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah,
But
because
they're the high end,
some vary, right? Like,
Yeah.
and a high-end rental fund is interesting, right? Because you don't see a ton of it.
All single family?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
All single family. Everything that I do is single family.
You're doing a lot of stuff in like Delaware County too, right?
Yeah. Yep. So, I mean, the market initially, I don't think that was the plan. Was to acquire these high end rentals, but after we started doing more of them, there's a crazy market for high end rentals. Like, I never would believe that someone would
pay X amount of dollars to just rent a place. But look, relocation doctors,
Yes.
big executives of corporations, they don't pay. We think of it from, my God, I couldn't pay $35,000 to live right in Gladwin, right? Like, but guess what? Their companies are paying for it. They're only here for 2 years, so they're not.
And Philadelphia is a big hub.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, you're.
It's smart, and the funds like that people don't realize allow you that flexibility. If me and you had just bought a couple $1 million place with our own money or the bank's money, well, we got to get our return back soon, right? We can't hang out for 7 years and just rent. I mean, I guess effectively you could, but
when you're analyzing these deals, right? I guess it has to work as a flip first, right? And then if the rental market tanks, then you could sell it and get equity, get money back, get your money back out of it.
Worst case scenario, yeah.
So it has to work as a flip, like the numbers of the amount of money that you're putting into the stuff, the materials that you're using, and then you say, hey, we're going to go after this niche market of rentals, right? Which takes balls to do, right?
Yeah.
And because if you're vacant for a little while, it sucks. But then when it's flowing, it's like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, there's my partner's a little bit more crazier than I am.
So and that's great
Yeah.
because he'll take the risk, he'll ball out,
Yeah.
and then you've got the more conservative range.
Is he more? I don't know the guy. Is he more of an analytic type guy, like very numbers driven?
Yes, very good with numbers.
And then he's bringing you like, hey, Hags, come look at this. Is this possible to make? And you're looking at it from the construction side because he probably thinks you're fucking crazy about the construction stuff, how much you know, and you're like, oh yeah, that's easy. I can knock this wall down. When you say stuff like that, people are like, what?
Yeah,
They're like, yeah, I'm just going to shift the steps. I'm going to move. I'm going to knock this wall down. It's easy. And they're like, what do you mean easy?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But for guys like us, it is easy.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
we've been around it for how many years?
Yeah.
Well, and you know what's funny for analytical guys like him, it doesn't matter if it's $100,000 or $10 million because the numbers make sense. The numbers make sense to those kind of guys. So we think, holy crap, you're borrowing that much money. It doesn't matter. It's the same exact thing, risk tolerance for the analytical person.
Now, how many houses did you get in, or how many deals did you get in before, like when he was finally like comfortable with like budgets getting like going all over the place? Because they don't realize that. Analytic guys think, oh, Mike, you said it was going to be $100,000 put in here. Yeah, but we ran into this problem and this problem and this problem, and materials are this and that. You're like, yeah, you had $100,000 budget, but we spent $1.25.
Yeah.
Like, so now is he like comfortable with that stuff now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, expect the worst, at this point. You go in, you look at it, you run your numbers and everything. It's just like, what's 200, make it 300 or something. You know what I mean? Just expect the worst. If 300 can work and we could do 200, then that's a home run.
I've never spent exactly what I thought I was going to spend.
Yeah.
I've either spent less or like fucking double.
Yeah, you guys, you just never hit it on the head. It's impossible.
Never, dude.
So that's why setting expectations for other clients when you guys were in that realm is next to impossible, right? You either get a really happy client that got a cheaper bathroom and kitchen, or you get a really pissed off client that has caviar taste. And the shit. So now I'm curious, now that you keep your high-end rental market in a fund, right? Say if you're in a fund or not a fund, there's always got to be a contingency plan there. Because that rental market, like you said, can totally flip.
The tank,
And you're carrying big notes here. So it's like, this isn't, hey, I can skip, absorb a couple $1,000 here and there payment. These are monster mortgage payments.
Yeah.
So what happens in that case? Because right now you're riding a pretty solid market. And as we know, this thing's cyclical. It's going to flip at some point, right? It's going to pivot out. What do you guys have there? Or you just kind of focus on, let's keep doing this, let's follow the blueprint, and then we'll take care of that when it hits?
That's kind of where I'm at. Cross that path.
Because you're doing well now. So it's like, but that's something that I'm sure your partners have on those guys. The business guys are always looking at that. Like, hey, when this thing does turn, when these interest rates do drop, like what's our pivot? Because it's the most important part.
Are you also leaving all profits in for right now? And so you're making your money like elsewhere in flips and all stuff, and that stuff, just let it build up. And once it gets to a certain reserve amount, then you're like, hey, now we can start drawing.
Yeah.
Because that's the smart way to do it, is like to have a reserve account.
Sure.
And a lot of people don't realize that, like, oh yeah, I got 10 rentals. Well, where's all the rent? Oh, well, I took it. And I bought this and I bought that and well, what if a roof fails? What if this fails? What if you have a bad storm damage? What if you have a backed up pipe?
Taxes, property management. Like,
they don't realize
money,
that. So
there's got to be money there.
You have to have a reserve account. And the guys from Legacy Capital taught me that years ago. Like, you have to have a reserve account. And that reserve account has to change. Like, so if you add more properties, you need to change that.
Yeah, what did you guys used to do? Like a 10, 15% contingency on each store?
So, like,
much?
I feel like for a while we had it at like 25,000. Then we had it at 50,000. Then the reserve was like 75,000. And it was like, all right, now it's like, once it got to that, it was like, all right, we're fine. Any problem that happens across 50 doors, we got it.
Yeah.
Like, we can handle it. So then you can start drawing. You know what I mean? But like, people don't realize that. They think like you should just start drawing. Or like you see partners that do like flips and then
have to draw right away.
And then they just suck it in. They're like, I need that money. And then it's like, what are you doing? Like, let it grow. And then when it starts to, the longer you wait to take your money, the higher it's going to be. And the first person that said that to me was, we had him on a show. We had Jeff Greco on a show. And he was like, the longer you wait to take your payment, the higher it's going to be. And I was like, what? And then I sat and I just kept repeating it in my head. And I was like, holy shit. He's fucking right.
Yeah, but not everybody can do that. That's the juggle between this game, right? It's like,
like
not
Mike
everybody.
Said, he had bathrooms, he had kitchens,
Yeah, exactly.
he had other flips that he was doing,
and he lived within his means.
Lived
right?
within his,
Like,
that's a big thing.
He
You're
rolled
like,
up ghetto
I don't see
fabulous
you
in that
rolling
Chrysler-
around in a
the
Range
big-
Rover or nothing. Like you're
the
pretty
big
frugal.
body Chrysler.
Yeah,
that was,
remember
that was
that?
a pimp car back in the day. I wanted that thing bad. But no, I mean, it's smart because look, we've all made mistakes in this thing, and you get a big paycheck, and it's like, hell yeah, I'm traveling, I want to go on vacation, and it's like, damn, capital gains hits and you're like, you don't have that contingency fund, right? A lot of people make that mistake when they call us and say, shit, I did not account for that. It's like,
Or you got to stroke a $50,000 check to IRS like that. They're not easy to write, dude.
like, yeah, I mean, if you don't talk to specialists in regards to like 1031 exchanges, if you're just going to pull your money back, you got to know the implications. Like, hey, if you make 100 G's on this and I've only held it for 1.5 years, you got to know what's going to happen come tax time, because there better be money there or you're going to get popped.
Like me and Jen have discussions all the time about like rentals, and she's like, oh, why don't you sell this? Why don't you sell that? Why don't you sell this? Because then she doesn't have to manage it. You know, you just have to deal with people, right? And I really like killed her with the whole like North Philly stuff like that, like broke her like a wild horse, right? But it made her mean. It made her it made her tougher in business, which was good. But she'll be like, I think we should sell this one. I'm like, I think we should keep it. And then like you look at the accounting, and the accountant can write off depreciation, right? I think what is it, like the first 7 years you can write off like a lot of appreciation, and then that helps us not have to write stroke checks to the government. And it's like, well, Jen, we could have made 50 grand here, but now we don't have to pay the IRS 50 grand. So it's like, you know what I mean? And it's like, and then like neither of us really need these vehicles that we drive, but it's like the accountant's like, you want to give it to the IRS or you want to go drive a nicer vehicle, right? And then if it's a truck, if it's over 6,500 pounds or 6,000 pounds, you can write that off in the full amount the first year if it's in a business name. So like that's a huge deal. Yeah. So it's like you're deducting that amount from what you're going to owe in taxes. And then if it's equipment, like Malade will buy like a Bobcat or something like that, or a mini excavator and stuff like that. And dude, that shit goes a long way, but you make money on that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Dump truck. Like my dump truck was the best purchase I ever made. And that was a huge deduction, right? Because that actually helps your business go. I don't have to pay for dumpsters anymore. Like I have a rolling dumpster. Yeah. You know, it's a 14-foot bed. It's like 6 foot high, and you can park it anywhere. It's new. It's not beat up, so neighbors aren't pissed off about it. And I bought one of those cab over ones. You've probably seen it before. Yeah. And you park that in a driveway. It's like it's a moving dumpster. And all the material you throw in there. So that's making you money. Yeah. You know, when you get out of that mindset of like, oh, I'm spending money. No. That's actually making you money and it's saving you money in the long run. When you start changing your mentality, and then when you put yourself around like these guys that you're putting yourself around, these analytic money guys, right? You start thinking differently about money. Yeah. And you start making more money.
Well, you see how, other people live, right? You see how the other side kind of lives, and you say, well, how the hell can I get there? What are they doing? Maybe that is for me. Maybe it's not for me. One, I never thought us three would be sitting here talking about tax deductions.
Yeah, right.
Damn sure.
Right.
But two, no, like that, because it's a scary thing. Like guys from at St. John's, Rome, we're not experts at that stuff. Like so
they don't teach us that.
They don't teach that stuff.
Yeah,
we're talking
none
about
of that
like
shit.
Last week we were talking about how they should have shop, right? And if college isn't for you, you can go right into the trades and start a business. I mean, I think it's insane that it's not back in inner city school. But like, how did you start linking it? Because you have to have a good accountant, tax team, CPA, and all that stuff. Because, for us, it's like a lot of people say, "Hey, I'm flipping a house. I make 100 G's. It's mine." I'm like,
no.
So you have to build the right squad around you and learn, like you said, you got to start learning how money works and how the banks see it and the government sees it, right? Because you can get jammed up and you be out of business quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you got to have the right accountants and right office people. Keep your books. Luckily, I have my mom who does all that shit.
That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, you can trust
family
them.
member. It's a big deal. Like people always say, it's my mom. I'm like, that's the best partner to have, right? It's like you can trust them. They're not going to beat you over the head for funds, I guess.
Yeah. Now, has she gotten more comfortable with like the volume that you're doing? Because I'm sure at first she was like, Michael, you better take it easy. Yeah. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I mean? No, she's used to it now. She's got it down pretty good. That's what she kind of did, other than the real estate stuff is kind of like run office management, stuff like that. So she likes it.
But the reality of it is, dude, like when you say that, I think you just scale up and go for it, right? Because what's the worst that can happen? You probably have all your ground covered, right? Like, hey, we can sell this, we can get out of this. And you only get a short crack at it, right? It's like, dude, you're only going to be doing this probably another decade or so. It's like, that's the goal. And then ultimately sell the business, I would think, or have the business run itself. So what's it look like the next chapter for you guys? Because it's not going to be just high-end rentals. It's got to pivot to something else eventually.
Yeah.
Well, these new builds.
New builds, new construction. I think they're easier than doing,
renovation.
Yeah, I think they're easy. But
The new
I've said
constructions
that-
are easier
I've said
than
that to
your
you
reno?
before. It's so much easier,
Yeah,
dude.
it is.
It's a lot of bullshit
Well, why?
in the beginning.
Explain that. Yeah.
The beginning part.
The beginning is bullshit. All the permits, but once you start getting out of the ground, you have the guys come in there, do the concrete, the foundations, all that stuff, and then like building off of that is so fucking easy.
Yeah.
It's
So you
so
have a
easy.
blank canvas instead of like kind of working
There's
on.
no surprises.
No,
Yeah,
exactly.
okay.
You're not opening up a wall and be like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think it's a common misconception to kind of keep the bones as it is and then build off of that. A lot of the clients like to do that because knocking down a home and building a new one for us it's a very challenging concept to wrap your head around.
The thing I think construction wise, it's way easier.
Yeah.
It's just so linear, right? It's just there's no surprises. It's very fucking simple. The thing that gets me about them is the amount of money that you have to put out for a longer period of time because you're acquiring the property, right? Which is usually a good amount of money. The funding that it takes for that, you have to put out a lot more, right? Now that's just sitting, and it's hard to see money just sit while you have to deal with bureaucracy bullshit of permits and plans and all this stuff. You're like, fuck, this sucks. And then it takes longer to sell them usually because it's a smaller buyer pool.
Yep.
Can you make more money? Yes. But I don't really do them much because it's like I can take that same 50 to 100 grand and make it work 3 or 4 times in the same year as opposed to just letting it sit for a whole year. Most new construction projects, correct me if I'm wrong, 9 to 12 months total from start to finish. Like when you acquire it to when you sell it, some are up to like 18 months.
Yeah. Some townships are getting a little crazy in the beginning there, like you said. The headaches
What, the
in
cost
beginning.
up front? Is
Well,
that why most
not
people
even that,
avoid
just
it?
the approval of like the permits and they're making
they
you
switch
do
stuff.
this storm water management thing is this huge thing now.
Bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, even the engineer is telling me like, dude, this doesn't need to be done.
Yeah.
This is complete overkill.
Yeah. So, it makes you hold the property longer. Then the actual project that they're making you do is another $30,000 that you didn't account for on your budget. And it's just like, been holding it for 6 months, 30,000 holding costs. Like they're just making you like they see money signs and they want some too. Or
And then people wonder why new construction is so much more.
Yeah.
It's because now they're putting water management
You have
and
to
all
build,
this
you
other
have to build in
Yeah.
the cost.
Well,
Is
yeah.
it-
Now there's
yeah.
another like 50 G's of shit where you're like, this did not need to be spent.
So it's passed on
Right.
to the consumer effectively,
100%.
right? Which we're big, and then with rising interest rates, with real estate agents' costs, like it's expensive as hell, and right, like that's
And
why
then like
they usually get a preferred
there's only
agent.
certain people for certain things, and like even in the city of Philadelphia, knocking houses down, like it needs to be a certain kind of demo guy or sprinklers, and this shit all costs a ton of fucking money, and you're like, this is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
So the simple question then, why do it that way? Is it just if you can hang off for 9 to 12 months, 18 months, you're hitting home runs instead of single? Is that more or less the thought process?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you're able to do
Because your philosophies are different. I mean, you're building,
Yeah.
like I said, monsters. He churns and burns like tons and tons of quality property, which is it's great, but it's just so different. Your philosophies seems like.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and you could grab a one or whatever you can financially handle. Grab one in the meantime and do a smaller one or something like that. And I mean, I do rental. Like I have a bunch of rentals myself.
Yeah,
and
Nick's
all
back
that
in the
stuff.
rental. He comes.
Yeah.
You get in and out of the market all the time, right? Tell us why you do that, and because I get asked that question a lot. Like, are you in full buy mode flip, or are you in full buy mode rent? I know it always got to make sense, the numbers, but like, what
For
changes that?
me right now, it has to work on both. So numbers have to work on both, right? So if I analyze a project, I need to be able to I don't just look at the out number of the sale, right? So the construction for me, whether I rent it or I keep it, is usually the same. Like, so say it's a shithole. Say it's a full gut reno, right? It's the exact same thing for me, the plan of construction, if I'm flipping it or if I'm keeping it, right? But if I can say, all right, I could sell it for this, but then I'm also projecting 5 years down the line, and I'm like, damn, I look at the houses now that I sold 5 years ago, and now people are selling them for $150,000 more than what I sold them for. And I'm like, man, that could have been my money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? And now I'm at a point where I don't need, not to say I don't need the money, but that flip doesn't make or break me in any way, shape, or form. So if I can just like even leave money into it and it stabilizes itself, I don't care if it makes $250 a month. 5 years down the line, I go from a $50,000 projected profit to a $150,000 profit. Yeah, I'm gonna fucking keep it.
Yeah, yeah. That's
You know what I mean?
plan. Yeah.
And then it's like certain houses, like certain ones where like Jen always says like, well, you got this cheap. Like, you stole this fucking house. We need to flip it. We need to sell it. And I'm like, well, you know what I mean? Like, so like sometimes I'm like, well, like I just signed for one and I feel like I fucking stole it. Right around the corner from where your mom saw that house with me. And I'm picking up for 155. And I just sold like an exact same house. Your partner had the buyers on it.
Oh, yeah.
For the mortgage for like 4 something, like low 4s, right? So like do the math, right?
Yeah.
But I know C owns one like 3 doors down that he rents and he gets really good money for. And I'm like, oh man, what's that going to be worth in 5 years? You know what I mean? So now that's how I'm kind of looking at it.
Sure.
Yeah.
And look, the part that not a lot of people think about is like that rental market could flip on its head, right? We've been at the top for a while here. Does that market soften? You know, so we always pivot on our strategies with this shit.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think it's great that you do both, right? You come in, you come out. The philosophy has to change unless you have a process, and that's what you stick in. So new builds, are you going to do any in the Philadelphia area? Or are you kind of staying out in that, or it's just wherever it takes you, wherever you can acquire?
I don't want to deal with the new builds
So
inside the city.
So what is it? Just more challenging for the business?
More headaches.
Yes.
You get back to the beginning process. I mean, the townships are easy compared to the city, but they're even a headache with the new builds. The new builds in the city, I mean, it's just
Depending on what area it is, and what inspector it is.
Yeah.
Like if it's around here,
neighbors
and Jimmy's the inspector, like, all right, cool. If you're doing the work the right way, you're doing good. Jimmy's never going to fucking break your balls.
Which sucks because we should get a city official on here that kind of like that would hear this stuff. Like, why wouldn't they make it easier for you to just build down there, right? I know the volume, they probably don't want a lot of this shit, but it's like, it's for any business. It's so hard to do.
Too many chiefs.
Yeah.
Too many people making rules.
There's
Absolutely.
too many people making rules.
Too many people trying to justify their job that really probably shouldn't exist.
Yeah,
you're right.
Because it makes it next to impossible. I mean, you know, opening any business down in the city is so freaking challenging, so expensive. By the time you get there, it's like you've lost your passion for it. So no, I know dealing with the counties is probably quicker. Yeah. Obviously, maybe more of a headache but you get answers immediately.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you could walk in there and you're talking to the person that's approved the plan.
Yeah.
Right there, you know. You go down the city, it's like, oh, so-and-so.
You're just sitting in some office building at City Hall.
Sit over there and write on this computer. Plug your name in the computer, go sit over there.
Well, at least they're pleasant when you finally get up in line.
You know what the city of Illinois is like? remember the movie Beetlejuice, and they're like waiting there, and it's like, you know, ticket 10,000, and he's on ticket 1, and the guy is like, that's what it's like down there. It's where dreams go to die.
Yeah, dude, it really is. It's one of the most, like the municipal building or right across at City Hall, you're sitting there, and you're just like, this is the most depressing place on earth. And all I'm trying to do is get an approval for a product that's really helping somebody out and myself out.
Yeah.
But you're even picking up stuff by yourself too, like where like I saw you did one down in Manayunk, and like I had texted you like was this you to pick this up? I was like, because I passed on it. I got like Bobby brought me through it, and I got like before it listed, and I was like, nah, I just at the time I was just like, I didn't want it. I had like 6 or 7. I'm like, I just didn't want it, and then I think he had told me. I think he was like, oh, your buddy got it. And Bob's a great guy.
Yeah, he is a good guy.
He's a good dude, straight shooter. And that's why I texted him, like, you picked it up? And yeah. I'm like, you keep it as a rental, right? Because you paid a little bit, but then you got good money for it.
Yeah, I was going to initially keep it as a rental. And then, you know, I seen what I was putting into it. And I'm like, you know, I'm not really going overboard here. So I put it on the market for a price that I made a decent profit on, and someone bought it. So,
yeah, and you got it.
Yeah, it didn't even last a day.
Yeah, it was like $330 or $340 or
and that's
something.
And that's one you passed on.
Yeah, I passed on. I was just like, you know, it just wasn't like I was.
It's a weird street, tough down there, but yeah, I got lucky.
If it was a different time, 6 months before, 3 months after, I probably would have picked it up. But there are certain times where, like, I don't need to pick stuff up, right? Yeah. Like right now, I think I have 7 or 8 active projects going on, right? I mean, my desk is right over there. There's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, like, so there's like 7, right? And So it's like, unless it's a home run, I don't need to pick it up right now.
Yeah.
Right. So if something comes across my desk where it's a home run, but like that was like, I would more so look at that as like a single or a double, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Wasn't nothing to
It kept
brag
people
about.
busy.
Yeah.
You put some money in your pocket. It's another one, it's another notch on the belt. But I didn't need that at that point. You know what I mean? And then you got it, and I was like, oh, good. At least somebody that I know fucking got it.
Yeah. It was a small one. It was fast. I think it took me like 6 weeks or something. It wasn't nothing.
See, so
Yeah.
you grab a property, you make it quick, and it seems like that field has the field of investors and buyers down there gotten smaller, bigger. Like, people realize how expensive it is, one, to buy a property, and two, how really expensive it is to flip to rent a property. Like,
You're talking about like Roxbury,
it's like the
East
buyer
Falls?
investor pool. Like, yeah, for you guys got more
I feel
challenging.
like it's thinned out.
Yeah, it has.
I feel like it's thinned out a bit.
I think so too. And I think for a while there, people were willing to overpay for anything at a certain point because they knew
there was
gonna sell
some
for
some
whatever.
return in there, but again,
Yeah.
It's like you're messing the game up, right? You're fucking
Yeah.
Fucking the
up.
game.
Yeah,
Dudes are
absolutely.
fucking the game.
We're, it's just about acquisition.
Like I
right?
saw
And
one
then
the
when
other-
the market does flip and you buy too high, that's when people get in
Yeah.
trouble again, right?
Yeah.
Like I saw one, and I'm sure you've seen it. It was over by the wreck. It was a shell. It was a burnout, right?
Yeah.
There was two of them side by side. And a guy ended up picking it up pretty cheap. And from what I gathered on that, I didn't know who this person was at all, but it's the agent, right? So you can tell that it's the agent that bought it, right? And then he's sending, and then I get privy to all the agent emails. So he listed it a little too high, right? The finishes weren't great. They were more so generalized Philly finishes, like too much marble and shit like that, right? It's like I call it like the Russian contractor type shit, right? And I don't do that kind of shit. You don't do that kind of shit. Not staged real well, right? Number too high, and it's just like in photos. I if I can pick things apart in photos, you know that when you go there in person, you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
So you know why it's not selling, right? It is a tougher time of year right now. It's an election year, so it's always slower near elections, right? Things kind of slow down, and then election's over, boom, it takes back off. So like, I see the emails Jen's showing me where like that agent is like, he's like lowering it, sending out emails. Hey, we lowered it. Hey, we're willing to take reasonable offers. And that. It's like, dude, you shouldn't be doing this then.
Yeah.
Like if you have to sell this house to survive, you shouldn't be doing it. Like you saw that, you saw the price, and you were like, man, I can make a bunch of money here. And now you're realizing it's not that fucking easy, right?
Yeah.
So it's like those people come and go. So I feel like there's, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's people either do like one flip, they're done, or they do a handful and they're done, or they're doing 100.
Yeah.
And they're just in it. They're just like, fuck it, I got this. The fucking my processes are down. And like once you pass like that, the initial like 5, you're not gonna stop.
Yeah.
Because you're like, this is too fucking easy.
Yeah. It sounds good to everybody in the beginning, you know what I mean? Oh, let's flip houses. You can make this and make that and this little bit of time. And then once they start getting into it, it's like, holy shit, I can't do this.
Yeah,
You know?
it's like even novice people like myself, when we get into it, we know the game, but oh man, we do not know the construction side of it. So it's like you get 3, 4, and it's like, oh, this is cool. Like I made a bunch of money, but you realize depending on what your job is and where your strengths are, hey, if I did 10 mortgages here, in the time I wasted in this house, I could have made 3 times the amount of that, right?
Yeah.
So it's nice to have.
We walked into your one. He brought me through one down Fishtown, right? He had like his brother and Charlie in there doing stuff, and then like that kind of stopped, and then he was like, "Dude, what do you think?" And I was like, "I think you just need to loan me money. I'll give you 10%. Like, fucking stop wasting your fucking time." Dude.
But look,
You know
I
what
mean, that was a grand slam, right?
Yeah.
Because again, it doesn't matter what happened. I could have tripped 15 times over that one. It was all about the acquisition.
it was the location.
So it's like you work hard, you get the location, and you get it through whatever means. And look, that was a slam dunk.
You make your money in the
in
acquisition.
the acquisition.
Yeah.
Like there's properties we always buy. You know, any one of us here. You don't even have to show it to me, right? Like show me if I know the details of and the deal works, buy it. Who cares?
And I mean, I laugh, and me and you laugh about it together a lot of times. Where like we'll pass up on projects. I'll be like, "Yo, I passed up on this one." You're like, "Yeah, I heard about that." Or like a couple weeks later, "Yo, I passed up on this too." And like we're like, "Oh, this dickhead bought it, like overpaid for it." And then like, what are you flipping houses for? To make $20,000? Like it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Like what do you? It just doesn't make any sense.
You have to have a number in your head that really makes it worth it. You know what I mean?
Got to know your numbers,
Yeah,
man.
you
In
have
any
to.
line of work, it's like we stress it all the time. Know your numbers. Know the calls you're going to make. Know the deals you have to do a month.
Yeah.
Right. And like we kind of fall off it sometimes, depending. But if you know your numbers, they're the people that usually make it through in this business. So
money's in the acquisition. Like, you literally make your profit in the acquisition.
yeah,
And
but
if you get it, the cheaper you get it, the more money you make.
more money you make, and then when you have the knowledge that you guys, do have and work locally and things like that, it all matters. All that stuff matters. So yeah, this was a special one for me because, again, Mike, I love, I've known you forever. All these just neighborhood stories of guys starting off one way, ending another, building your own business, hiring a bunch of people means a lot to me personally. I think it's great. And damn, now that I think about it, yeah, we've worked on and off together for a decade.
Yeah,
too,
yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like, you just don't even think about that, right? So the game moves fast, and I love to see that you're moving with it. So congratulations. I know we said on your IG, it's MKE GC.
Yeah.
That's where you can find it. Is that the best location to kind of grab you? Have any questions for you?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, cool, man. Well, look, we appreciate it. That's another episode of the Atomic Real Estate Show. Mike Haggerty, founder of MKE GC, looking to do any of your renovations and flips. So keep it up, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. Thanks.
If you enjoyed our episode, please consider supporting the show by rating and reviewing the podcast. Also, check us out on Instagram at Atomic Real Estate Show to find out when new shows drop and to participate in our community Q&As. The Atomic Real Estate Show was brought to you by Direct Subs. Direct Subs is the #1 place for real estate investors to connect with local contractors for their flips, rentals, renovations, and new construction projects.